This is the 10 best gold farms of the week. Let us begin. Coming in at number 1, we have the Warbear Leather Gold Farm, located in the zone of Winter Spring. This one is located just north of 𝐆𝐀𝐿𝐼, the neutral hub in which everyone is able to fly to. Regarding this, you'll be wanting to farm up the rabid shard-tooth bears, which have a 21% chance of dropping the Warbear leather, along with thick and rugged leather respectively, along with their additional hides. The Warbear leather goes for a decent chunk on the auction house, and in an hour's worth of farming you are able to gain quite a large amount providing this. This is used to make items such as the Warbear woolies or the Warbear leather harness. These types of transmog appearances tend to go for a decent chunk of gold, so if you have a leather worker with this particular craft, then it's probably worth crafting that item to sell on the auction house. Failing that, you can always just sell the materials flat on the auction house to bring in some steady gold, as Warbear leather is actually selling quite well at this moment in time. In addition to this, if you have farmed up all of the rabid shard-tooth bears within the area at that 21% chance of dropping the Warbear leather, you can also farm up next to them the shard-tooth maulers, which have a 10% chance of dropping the Warbear leather until such a time as the rabid shard-tooths respawn once again. I find this to be a great way in order to just spend a little bit of extra time, and because it is in Winter Spring, you have a chance of gaining the zone-wide drop of the 𝐆𝐀𝐿𝐼 whelpling to go alongside this. This makes it a great gold farm in general, and also drops a decent chunk of old world transmog in the long run as well. So overall, a very good gold farm to start off this week. Coming in at number 2 on our list is the Dungeon of 𝐆𝐀𝐿𝐼. 𝐆𝐀𝐿𝐼 is located within the Western Plaguelands, and it has some keynote items you can gain from this. Providing this, you can also gain dark runes, which can also be sold on the auction house as a side note. You also have a chance of gaining some old world transmog, which is your keynote things you'll be going for. The general census for this, you'll be wanting to go for 4 different types of transmog items which drop from this specifically, and all of the others tend to fall by the wayside compared to these. This is the Staff of Jordan, currently going for around about 7,000, nearly 8,000 gold. The Cold Stone Slippers, 5,000 gold. The Tattered Leather Hood, which is currently going for around about 12,000 gold, and the Icy Tomb Spolders, which averages anywhere from around about 6,000 to 30,000 gold per one. In addition to this, 𝐆𝐀𝐿𝐼 has a wide variety of different types of transmogs that you can gain from this, and you can easily sell these ones on the auction house for a decent chunk of gold. Providing this, I find that this is one of the most easier of the transmog gold farms, as it is quite linear, and by the time you get to the end you can dreamwalk in and out using your druid. Following on with that, you can also use your monk to meditate in and out of the instance as well, providing this. I find this to be a great way in order to actually farm up some old world transmog, and ones that are in a decent bracket which actually fetch a high price overall. I consider this more of a padding farm more than anything, so I would recommend checking that one out right there. Which brings us on to our next gold farm at number 3, which is the Spineclaw Crab. Now, the Spineclaw Crab is located within the Timeless Isle, and it drops from the Monstrous Spineclaw. This actually spawns from the basic Spineclaws, so you'll be wanting to take out those in the area. Basically, what you'll be wanting to do is run along the coastline, taking out all of the Spineclaws that you gain. Once a Spineclaw has died, it has a chance to spawning a Monstrous Spineclaw, which you have a 2% chance of obtaining this battle pet. This battle pet on average goes from anywhere from around about 98,000 towards 89,000 gold, and this works out quite well as the drop chance on this is quite low. However, you do have as many times as you need. Following on to that, with this gold farm, I tend to go in a loop shape fashion, so by the time I get round to the end of the other side again, all of those mobs will have respawned, and thus I am able to just keep on farming for this Spineclaw Crab. in an hour's worth of farming for this, you shouldn't have that much of a problem in obtaining the spine claw crab. Just providing with this, it's going to take a little while in order to do, so be prepared that you won't get this on your first hour. However, if you vary it off over the next couple of hours of obtaining this battle pet, you should be surprised with the results. Now, coming in at number 4, and my pick for this week, is the loaded gnomish dice. This one is located within 𝐵𝐻𝐿, and what you're going to be wanting to do is get on your rogue. This is a rogue specific gold farm. What you'll be wanting to do is you'll be wanting to head over to the northwest of the zone up towards the big pillar. What you'll be wanting to do here is by sapping the lead commander of these particular units, and thus they will all stay still for you. This is where you'll be able to pickpocket all of their mobs, and then for me, I personally like to just take out that set of mobs, as it's faster for them to respawn than it is for their pockets to respawn. This makes it so it's easier for me to just slay them after I've pickpocketed them all, and then wait for them to respawn. In this general area, you're going to get massive packs of these guys, hence why we sap the lead commander, and thus you can pickpocket all of their mobs. In an hour's worth of farming, I average on myself, as I do this pretty much most weeks, give or take, I get around about 1 per hour. Now this can actually fetch you anywhere from about 20,000 towards 80,000 from my findings, and judging by this, it is worth checking out on your auction house beforehand, or failing that by going in towards Worth It, as we have the dedicated route for that, and it will show you exactly where you need to go and how much you're going to be able to get it for. Overall, I find that this gold farm has been just tried and true throughout the years, and it just is a reliable gold farm for me personally, and thus is why it makes it on this list. Next up at number 5 is an oldie but a goodie. This is the 𝐆𝐻𝐿𝐴 and Obsidian Ore gold farm within 𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴. What you're going to be wanting to do here is primarily you'll be wanting to go on your druid. Make sure that you do the introductory quest for underwater breathing and that nice little speed bonus for swimming underwater. This is why we use a druid, is because that buff stacks on top of your swim speed, making you incredibly fast at farming up this particular area. I find this to be one of the best ways in order to do this, as the faster I can go, the more herbs and ore I can farm up in this particular area, and thus I'm able to gain more materials per hour than most conventional others would. Overall, 𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴 is just amazing for farming up 𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴, which already goes for a decent chunk of gold, and with obsidian ore, I kind of just craft that into folded obsidian because it just like doubles in value for me. So I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. Alongside that, you are able to gain quite a lot of additional types of materials to go along with this. This means things like volatile life, which still sells for a decent chunk of gold, as it is one of the key components to creating the Vial of the Sands, and an array of different other types of crafts. This goes as well as 𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴. Obsidian ore just tends to sell for a higher value. I don't know why, but I'm going to take it. If it sells for more, then obviously I'm going to take it right there. In an hour's worth of farming, I get a stupid amount of 𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴 and obsidian ore with my druid, and overall I find this to be a great gold farm in order to talk about, and in general it's one of my go-tos if I want to make some quick gold. Now, coming in at number 6 and sticking with this particular type of zone is the Reigns of Poseidus mount. I figured if I'm in 𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐴, I might as well talk about Poseidus, because this mount is 100% drop chance and is sellable on the auction house, and it comes from the rare elite Poseidus. Now, judging by this, Poseidus can spawn in 5 different types of locations, 4 in the Shimmering Expanse and 1 in the Abyssal Depths. At 66.6 to 41.4, 58.4 to 82.2, 46.6 to 50, and 40 to 67.8 is for the Shimmering Expanse, and 41.4 to 76.3 is for the Abyssal Depths. Those types of coordinates I tend to just shove into TomTom, and you can actually find these on the Discord for farmed info. If that's any help to you, then please feel free to go over there and just copy and paste it into a macro for yourself, as it's easier to farm that way. However, Poseidus has like a 1 hour respawn timer, so be prepared for this. He tends to always be down during midday, just so you know. However, the reigns of Poseidus can fetch a decent chunk of gold on the auction house, going anywhere from around about 2,000 to 10,000 gold. It really does depend. I do this as a quick log gold farm, where I will just park an ult there and I will farm it once a day as soon as I wake up in the morning. It takes me literally around about 4 minutes to do a complete lap of the entire area looking for Poseidus, and if I see Mobius I take him out as well, because he's a rare a world boss that actually just drops loot, and I've managed to gain quite a lot of dual crafting recipes from him. That being said, this is just a quick gold farm I like to do personally every single day, as it just provides me with a steady income of gold, because mounts always sell rather well. Next up, at no surprise, at number 7 is the Siege of Orgrimmar. Now, Siege of Orgrimmar is like one of my go-to gold farms for raiding, and that is because in total, at this moment in time, you can get, if you got all of the battle pets, you're making 100k gold. Now, these battle pets drop from various different types of the bosses. However, this doesn't take you all that long in order to farm up. For instance, the Black Fuse Bombling is at a 10% drop chance from Siegecrafter Black Fuse, and goes from anywhere from around about 21,000 gold. As well as the Gooey Sharling goes for around about 21k as well. The Droplet of Y'Shaarj, however, goes for around about 49,000 gold, along with Kovok, which is fetching anywhere from around about 23,000 gold. All of these battle pets are worth a great deal, and pretty much at or over 20k gold per one. And for a reasonable drop chance for these, it's always a go-to each and every week. These ones actually tend to sell rather well as well, especially when it comes towards Kovok and the Black Fuse Bombling. Those ones tend to sell the fastest in my experience, and overall they're the easier ones to get a hold of. So in general, I find this to be one of the better ways in order to actually farm up some regular gold, as it is once per week, as it is a raid, and thus I'm able to just spam that on all of my ults in a massive alt army clash in order to get a hold of these battle pets, sell them on the auction house, and pull in a decent chunk of gold. Following on to that, and at no surprise, is another material gold farm. Now, this is more for the lazier people. Now, if you are a skinner, I would recommend going over towards Ungoro Crater. This is where you'll be doing the Devilosaur Leather Gold Farm. This one's like the most easiest gold farm in the world. All you have to do is go over towards the Queen Devilosaur in the western side of the map, or basically southwest of the map, and what you're going to want to do is just camp her. She has a 30-second respawn timer, and every time she spawns, you can instant kill her, skin her, and then just wait. I generally watch things on my other monitor screen while I'm just clicking every now and then if I need Devilosaur Leather, and I can gain a decent chunk of gold for basically not doing anything, just clicking my mouse a few times while watching something, and I will pull in a decent chunk of gold for very, very little to do. Now, the gold isn't like insane per hour, however, it's very low effort, or so low effort that it is just, yeah, you can do other things while you're doing this, and it just makes more sense in that regard. Which means that this Devilosaur Leather Gold Farm is at number 8. Following on to this, and at number 9, is the Karazhan Gold Farm. No, this is not the trash gold farm. I've talked about that before. However, Karazhan Pets Gold Farm is the one of note. What you're going to be wanting to do is head into Karazhan. Make sure that you take out the Huntsman, as you're going to get a chance of getting that 1% mount, the Fiery Warhorse. However, the Fiendish Imp is one keynote item that you can get a hold of. This one goes from anywhere from around about 5,000 to 10,000 gold, depending on whether it's level 1 or level 25. You're going to get all of these pets at level 1, so it depends on you personally if you want to level them 25. For me, in general, I just wait till Squirt Day and then power level them all in one evening. while watching like Big Bang Theory or something. The other thing of note is the Little Bad Wolf. This one is primarily a faster seller, however it fetches a lot less gold, as it is one of the most common to be farmed. This one goes for around about 444 gold, but if you have it at level 25, you can sell that for a hell of a lot more gold, mainly due in parts that it is used for the garrison quests, and the Little Bad Wolf is just perfect for just curb stomping basically every single daily in that garrison for it, hence why the level 25 version goes for a lot more gold. The Menagerie Custodian goes for around about 1000 gold, however level 25 will go for a lot more. The Neverspace Abyssal on the other hand goes for around about 10,000 gold, and that is your last boss in the actual raid. So if you make your way all the way over to the end, you have a chance of getting the Neverspace Abyssal. At a decent enough drop chance, this is actually worth it. However, at level 25, this one doesn't actually see that much of an uptick when at level 25. However, if you do that, it's roughly around about 50% increase on the price of the Neverspace Abyssal. So currently it's going around about 15,000 gold, and it's worth a decent chunk of gold overall. I find this to be well worth my time in order to just power level myself through with all of my ults and see if I can get all these battle pets. The same as such as like the Siege of Orgrimmar each and every week. I have just a full rotation I just go through with all of my ults, and once that's done I can just be lazy, do my daily crafting and then log off, or go do a raid or a dungeon or do all the other things that I do in WoW. Coming in at last on our list at number 10, we have the Dungeon of Gnomeregan. Yes, I like to talk about transmog as well as materials, pets, everything to do with gold making. And this comes at no surprise at number 10. Gnomeregan is full of unique appearances that go for a stupidly high price, and such as items like the Mech Builder's overalls going for around about 350,000 gold. Hotshot Pilot Gloves, 4 million gold. The Petrol Spill leggings, 22k. The Cavern Deep Trudgers, still no data on that, but they can drop. The High-Tech Super Gun, 7,500 gold. The Vibro Blade, 18,000 gold. The Oscillating Power Hammer, 3,600 gold. That sounded cooler, and then the price was low. It just, yeah, that was anticlimactic. The Supercharger Battle Axe, that's going for about 5,000 gold. Then the Gizmotron Mega Chopper at 82k. For obvious reasons, the Mech Builder's overalls, Hotshot Pilot Gloves, and the Gizmotron Mega Chopper are your keynote items. However, if you get Hotshot Pilot Gloves, you're just laughing all the way to the bank, because 4 million gold's 4 million gold, man. But other than that, these transmogs do take a long time in order to sell, just providing this before you go do this gold farm and get a hold of some of these items. However, they go for a decent chunk of gold because they're hard to get. The dungeon is pretty annoying to actually do a full clear on, unless you are a druid who can just dreamwalk in and out of the instance. And you're going to take a little bit longer in order to actually sell these than regular transmog. However, overall, Worth It is actually showing a better sell rate overall for the amount of gold that you're going to gain. So other than that, in regards to transmog gold farms, I still believe that Gnomeregan is one of the high ticket places to gain some decent gold and sell those on the auction house. Other than that, that is everything I have to say for the top 10 best gold farms of the week. If you want any other additional types of gold making resources or Patreon content, videos and early access videos, then please feel free to go over towards the Patreon. Other than that, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.